Why, God? Why? Fix it! It hurts now! Do something!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Review the Nerds. I'm Vincent.
And I'm Mike, and today we're reviewing Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. This is a movie that has been on quite the hype roller coaster since the beginning.
First, people were excited when it announced that we're finally going to get Batman and Superman in a film together.
It's been like 20 years we've been talking about doing this.
Yeah, shit started getting weird. The casting choices,
Eisenberg,
and Ben Affleck for a while, and Gal Gadot got us all concerned. Then people started feeling a little better. The trailers looked kind of nice, but then the trailers went kind of back and forth. Here's the story summary. Superman done fucked up. Batman don't like that. Lex Luthor's fucking nuts. Superman-Batman fight. Shit goes down.
Now, we're both big fans of Batman and Superman, and I think that because of that, we're both going to be really passionate about this review, and maybe we're going to harp on the negatives more than the positives because we're so protective of these characters. But there are definitely elements in this movie that are entertaining and deliver. I can appreciate how ambitious the movie was, though I think it was a little misguided in a lot of respects. I think the little nods to The Dark Knight Returns sprinkled in here and there were great. I think that Cavill is a great choice for Superman still, though he may not be allowed to shine as much as he should have. Affleck is also the same story. Everyone in general seemed to give it their best given what they had to work with. However, there was some questionable choices in the execution of this movie. And while it certainly is not the worst movie it could be, it's also definitely not the best it could be. It falls somewhere in the middle in that zone of being okay. The movie tries to fire on all cylinders, and the bullets are hit and miss. There's too many storylines and characters intersecting at different points, getting tangled and all of them building up, but without a really satisfying payoff. This guy is a racehorse that's waiting to get out the gates, so I'll let him go. Go!
You will answer to me, Zack Snyder.
Whoa.
Alright? You will answer to me. Come before me, son of Snyder, and kneel before Vincent. You son of the bitches. You, oh my god. Let me say something. This is by far not the worst film I have ever seen. It is not. But it is quite possibly the most disappointing film I have ever seen. After I saw this film, it felt like Donald Trump had already won. That's what it felt like. And what? Oh my god. You know when you're a kid, right, and you screwed up? You've done something bad and you know it. And you're already feeling the stress because you know you got to answer to your parents, right? And you look at your parents, you're like, Mom, Dad, are you mad at me? Are you mad? And your parents look at you and they're like, no, son, we're not mad. We're just disappointed. And like, oh, God's sakes, don't say you're disappointed. Say you're mad. Say you want to curb stomp me, but don't say you're fucking disappointed. This goddamn film. You know, I blame myself. You know why? Because I was starting to ease up. Despite the fact of all these factors that we've known for well over a year that things were going in a bad direction, I started to ease up. I started to let the trailers make me feel, you know what? This may not be great, but it could be okay. It could be serviceable. But no! Fuck no! The pacing is horrific. It moves far too fast. They keep bouncing between all the characters so much. Characters are barely on the screen for a few minutes before we're back to Lex, or back to Bruce, or back to Clark, or back to Bruce, or back to Lex, or back to Lois, or back to Clark, or back to Bruce. I'm fucking losing my mind. I was so bored watching this film. There's things in this movie that happened that shouldn't have happened. I'll list a few positives that I can think of. Cinematography wasn't bad. Gal Gadot, she did fine considering that she really wasn't in the movie that much. And in all honesty, as much as I want to see Wonder Woman in live action, I want to see one of the world's greatest heroes on the big screen doing her thing. Wonder Woman was not necessary to the plot of this film. She was some weird subplot that was just not that. She was just there to help in the final battle and to give Bruce a boner, maybe? I kind of think. I don't know. Oh, God damn it. Ben Affleck had years of like just bombs after bombs, but he came back with the talent in Argo, so that helped me feel okay about him being Batman. And for the most part, yeah, he did fine. It's just I don't know how I feel about the way his character is done up in this film.
Many people were concerned about Ben Affleck originally being cast as Batman, but he isn't the problem here. I like that we got to see him being a detective at times. We see him use his intellect. It was also a nice change in approach to see the character from later in his career rather than at the beginning. Affleck does his best with what he's given, but he isn't supported with the best script or direction. He's only given one note to work with, really, and that's angry and moody. He also can be a hard guy to relate to in this one, but I think that Affleck will surprise some of the doubters. Henry Cavill as Superman seems to be directed more as a plot device for the action rather than as a layered character. As a result, he comes across a little stale at times. The only thing that seems to humanize him or make him relatable is his relationship to Lois Lane. His Superman is just as dark as the limited color palette of this movie. There is no room for joy or magic with Snyder's Superman, or for the movie in general for that matter. And his Clark Kent, he's pretty much just Superman wearing glasses. There's no disguise. And they said in Kill Bill that Clark Kent is Superman's commentary on humanity. It's an important part of the duality of this character. And it alienates him, it makes him feel more alien and isolated from people whenever he is Clark Kent. And it seems like he just walked off the street and they gave him the job of being a reporter right the fuck away. Eisenberg, who everyone has been freaking out about and worried about, is indeed a terrible Lex Luthor. The worries and concerns are all justified. It honestly feels like the geek god should strike down anybody with lightning who even refers to him as Luthor. He's incredibly miscast and misdirected in the role.
I would say this is the elephant in the room, but no, this is the fucking dodo bird in the room. Eisenberg, we were right. We were all right. Jesse, you are a fantastic actor, but god damn it, I tried not to hold this against you because I'm just assuming after you were casted, they rewrote the character to fit around your Academy Award nominated portrayal in Social Network. But I got a feeling that either Snyder or somebody on set gave you some bad advice, or you had an idea and nobody told you it was a bad idea, and fuck, dude!
The red capes are coming!
You know, they always had Granny's peach tea piss.
Stop it! I'll fight with this guy! This guy, put a handshake on him!
Oh, god damn it. It's like Woody Woodpecker. It's like Woody Woodpecker.
He's like a cartoon. So wrong! Lex Luthor's supposed to be a sophisticated gentleman. He's so far from him. He's like an evil Mark Zuckerberg. He would have been a great Riddler, perhaps, but his awkward, nervous, and zany energy totally falls flat with this character. The clash of ideology should have been at the heart of Batman and Superman's final fight, but instead it's sidetracked by Superman being motivated to fight by a hostage situation masterminded and orchestrated by Luthor. In the comics, Batman and Superman's clash is usually over opposing ideas and fighting crime. Batman always dances on a line of going too far. He's more brutal and ruthless, whereas Superman is more restrained because he has to be. He can tap you on the head and kill you if you wanted to. Part of the problem here is that neither is much less brutal than the other, though both of them claim to be. They're both killers. They both don't want to answer to the law. So both are wrong and both are being hypocrites. This is at the very heart of the issue with this movie.
This, I know they say in the film, but you keep saying that, I don't think it means what you think it means. This means something! This means something!
Hope starts with an S on my planet. Hope.
What does this mean on your planet? Gratitude?
Superman is supposed to be about hope. He stands for the best of us and humanity. In this version, it's hard to believe how anyone would look up into the sky and see him as a savior. He causes almost as many deaths as he saves. Even if it's collateral and not intentional, he's the whole reason why these threats keep coming at people in these movies. He's supposed to be the solution, not the cause. I can appreciate Snyder's attempt to address the cultural impact a Superman would have on the real world. The problem, though, is that the argument as to why Superman is a negative presence in our world outweighs the positive. Superman does not do a lot to instill faith in him. The movie asks the question, does the world need Superman? Sadly, the answer in this movie is probably not, seeing as how he brings most of the threats that he ends up fighting. You can almost sympathize with Batman's fears of Superman. That is until you see how hateful and careless towards human life Batman is as well. This is a Batman that is a killer, and to the point of using guns. The one weapon that Batman despises more than any other because it took his parents' lives. True, in the Dark Knight Returns book, Frank Miller had the Batmobile fire guns, but it was made very clear in it that they were rubber bullets. In this movie, they are not rubber bullets. It goes against everything that the character stands for. All the good work that Nolan did in his Dark Knight trilogy of making it a point that not killing is essential to Batman is undone here. There are scenes of Batman raining bullets through bad guys from the safety of his Batmobile and Batwing. There's even a moment of him stabbing a knife through a thug's chest.
Yeah, he kills... In this movie, he possibly kills, I want to say, damn near 20 people. From the trailers, I got the idea that this Batman was going to be a darker Batman. And you know what I mean, darker. What Mike has been saying. And I thought, okay, great. This is going to be the balance in the film. Batman, the more experienced hero, is going to show Superman, by the end of the film, how to be a better hero. To not make the same mistakes he made in Man of Steel. And on the other side of that, Superman will help Batman rediscover his moral center. And neither of those things happened. I thought, this is how they're going to balance two characters so one doesn't look better than the other. They're each going to learn from each other. They're each going to rebuild each other. And we didn't get that.
The greatest strength that Batman and Superman both share is their ability for self-control. It's where a lot of the conflict and drama comes from, and their enemies are constantly trying to exploit their resistance to killing and to push them to cross that boundary. It's their willpower to not cross that boundary that truly makes them superheroes. In a world where Batman kills, what has kept him from killing the Joker? In this movie, Batman methodically plans out killing Superman, and with a lack of empathy, that suggests he could be a psychopath. This is not a true representation of Batman or Superman. And worse, none of this is even relevant as to why the fight between the two titans stops. The transition of their fight to the end threat is way too sudden and anticlimactic, and it leaves the true conflict between these two characters unresolved. I don't think it's any secret now that they battle Doomsday at the end of this movie. That's not even a spoiler. It's in the trailer. And Doomsday, everyone complained that he looked like a cross between a Lord of the Rings troll and a Ninja Turtle from the new movies. Now, the comparison that I would personally make is the Abomination from The Incredible Hulk. He's way too big.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be big. He's supposed to be, what, like 10 feet tall? He's like...
He holds Superman in his hand.
He's like 17, 20 feet tall.
Yeah. He's a King Kong size.
This is another example of, like, there are definitely moments in this movie where practical effects could have been used.
The CGI is serviceable in this movie, but it's also just splooged and overused across the whole screen. And it makes you crave the early days of Superman being suspended on wires with a blue screen behind him. The actors disappear in this. It makes the stakes feel low, because I feel like there's no genuine threat, because it just feels like they're surrounded by cartoons. It's like watching your buddy play a video game and you're sitting there waiting to play.
Like, holy fuck, they're fucking up Metropolis all over again.
How's their Metropolis still standing?
I thought, like, that was what made, like, LexCorp funded the money to rebuild the city, but, like, that's really quick. Which, by the way, is it a media empire? I thought
they never made it clear what LexCorp was about.
Yeah. Maybe it was supposed to be, and they decided, well, scrap that. We'll just say he's a rich billionaire who, like, does stuff. The
layout of having Gotham beside Metropolis makes the geography of this world so confusing. It was so hard to figure out from scene to scene which city we were in.
You have to hop on the fucking highway, boom, you're there in like 10 minutes tops. Maybe 15 if there's traffic. The action in this film, when I was watching it, I was like, I feel like I should be enjoying this action. I feel like the action things are good, but because everything else just bored me to zombification levels, I was like, I couldn't even enjoy the action, really.
There are certainly effective action sequences in this movie. There is a very flashy action sequence, though, that we've all seen in the third trailer with Batman fighting a room of thugs. This is relatively exciting if you can overlook him occasionally showing strength that goes way beyond what he's supposed to have. Batman's able to toss 200-pound men 20 feet across a room sometimes. Who needs Superman when Batman can do that shit? The movie is also weighed down by a series of confusing dream sequences that Snyder is clearly trying to set up the Justice League movie, but these elements are very distracting from the main story. The film is very long. It runs at like 151 minutes. The Justice League references feel very forced and are disorientating, especially for anyone who's not familiar with the comics. It's ambitious, but in the end, it would have been a better film without them. It feels too eager to play catch-up to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and without the patience to set these things up properly and slowly over time. There's a scene where the cameos of certain Justice League members are crammed in, and it feels so out of place and glossed over. Zack Snyder is a director that I used to be very excited by. I really enjoyed 300, and I really think that Watchmen was very underrated. I really liked that movie. I was initially excited when he was given control over the DC cinematic universe. However, my faith got shaken during the finale of Man of Steel. But there was still enough in that movie that I liked to carry my faith over into this film a little bit. And now with this movie, I think that he might be the wrong guy for these films. He doesn't seem to have a firm grasp or understanding for these characters. I understand he's trying to update them for a modern age, but there are very essential and key elements missing from both of them. Things that truly define them as superheroes. Snyder's world is bleak and grim. Any shred of hope and light appears to be stomped out and replaced with dread. The movie has elements that work, don't get me wrong, and on paper it plays close to the way it should. It's mostly in the execution where things appear to get lost in translation. Snyder knows how to deliver the spectacle, but not so much the heart. They're going to start shooting Justice League in 1 month.
Yeah.
With him behind the director's chair.
Ah.
If he treats Justice League the way he treated this movie, then we're in for a long ride here. And not a long, good ride. Like a long, slow ride.
Yeah. I mean, this movie is what happened with both Spider-Man franchises. They tried to stuff too much shit. Because it's not even Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. You don't even need to put Superman in the title. This movie is Batman Justice League Starter Pack. That's what this movie is. That's what the title should have been.
I think that everyone involved did their best. Hell, you can even say that Snyder did his best, but he just didn't understand the characters. Marvel has Kevin Feige, and he's a visionary. He's the guy who created the cinematic universe that everyone's trying to copy off of now, including DC, but they don't know how to do it right, because they don't do the solo films first. They do the let's get everyone together now film.
I mean, everyone's been saying, like, DC, you're just trying to catch up to Marvel, you're trying to move too fast, and they're like, no, we're not, we got a whole plan, it's gonna, like, full fucking shit.
I think that a change in leadership might be needed at this point. I'm sorry to say. I think that Ben Affleck has proven himself to be a great director when it comes to handling multiple storylines and characters with depth. I think that Justice League would really benefit and have a better chance of success with him taking over for me personally. Hans Zimmer really has no new themes to bring to this universe. Batman, did you even recognize Batman's theme at all?
I didn't know there was one in there.
Yeah, there was something that he did. I didn't recognize it.
A lot of gray. I wanted to be so wrong. All my fears and doubts. I wanted to be so wrong about them because I wanted this movie to be fantastic. Because it is the two, even with all of Marvel's success, these are still the two most iconic superheroes of all time. Alright? The two most iconic. So, also, not only the iconic superheroes, two of the most famous fictional characters in the past 100 years. This movie should have blown my mind with how incredible it was, how written it was, how well the directing was, how well the visuals, all the visuals, how well the story was, how well the acting was, and it didn't blow my mind. Well, I'll correct it. It blew my mind, but it blew it clear out my ass. Alright? I want to see a good live action representation of Superman. We haven't had that. We kind of got close with Man of Steel, but not all the way. Which, after seeing this movie, I feel better about Man of Steel. Like, for me, I was like, is it okay? Like, no, it's better than okay now, in retrospect. I mean, in some ways, this movie makes Man of Steel look worse. This character just means a whole lot to me. Both of these characters, all these characters, even Wonder Woman. I want it done right. I want there to be light in this film, not
hope is
not
the key
50
word.
Shades of Grey, pun not intended. I can't even speak right now, I'm so messed up.
Hope is the key word that's needed in Superman.
Yeah, we need, like, Obama campaign level hope. We need that.
Superman is supposed to lift you up. He's supposed to show you the way.
Motherfuckers.
Oh, wait, the audience?
No,
didn't do anything?
No, not you guys. You know who I'm talking about.
Zack Snyder.
Snyder, Warner Brothers, David Goyer.
Who, by the way, wrote the Dark Knight trilogy. So I guess without Nolan collaborating with him, I guess he's really lost.
But for now, I'm Vincent.
And I'm Mike.
This has been
Review of the Nerds. You didn't have the energy to say it.
God damn it! Are we done?
I was gonna see how long. I want to see how long you're gonna do that for.
Son of a bitch.